whole time, the whole thing was shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I can call it.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch detective, Steve Culls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
Oh, Steve, I think you're still muted there, bud. There
Hey,
we
good
go.
evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, June 12th, 2020. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Culls, along with my co-host, the guy down there, Mr. Chris Bennett.
Yes.
Evening, Chris. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, Steve. Man, I tell you what, we've been burning it up here in Kentucky, painting and fixing floors and all kinds of crap that nobody likes to do.
Well, let's do some of the roll call. Like doing Prime Ape Objective. Hello, welcome back, Prime. Good to see you.
Big Prime.
Frank, hello, Frank.
Hey, Frank.
John, good evening.
John.
OT made it this week. Hello, OT. Well, you know, when your
OT.
name is OT, we expect sometimes you not to be here because you're working OT. Ken Parnell. Hello, Ken. Good to
Hey,
see
Ken.
you. Terry. Hello, Terry.
Terry.
Linda. Hello, Linda. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in the chat before. Hello, Carrie.
Linda.
Hello,
Carrie.
Pat back. Hello, Pat.
Welcome
Hey,
back.
somebody new. Bayou Irish. Hello, Bayou Irish.
Bayou Irish.
Uh-oh, here's trouble. Christy's in town. Christy's in the house.
Christy.
Oh boy.
Rick. Hello, Rick.
Rick.
So here we are. That's the quick roll call. I'm sure more people will filter in as time goes on. But welcome one, welcome all. And way down there, down there is Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello, guys. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, there he is. I was wondering where Tack was at.
Hiding down here on the bottom.
That's okay. We can cover you up with Christy. There we go. Hi,
Yeah.
So good. Gav, I don't know what the heck is going on. Why that went to that, but we're rolling with it. Well, anyway, there we are.
And it is July the 12th, too, not June, Steve.
I thought I said July the 12th.
Well, maybe you did. I thought I heard June, but you know me, I was calling out leap year back here a while back. So.
Yeah. Well, it is a leap year this year.
Yeah.
Last year you called out leap year. Was
last year, yes. Last year I was saying it was leap year. Like, no.
No. But we had one heck of a show last week. As for those who missed it, we had Matt Moneymaker on with Mike Poole. They were talking about a thermal image that came up, this particular one. Let me make that a little bit bigger for folks. There we go. So in the therm, a lot of people were asking questions, and this is why partly it's great to have Mike on tonight, because Mike has a lot of high-end type of thermal stuff, so he's really a cool one to talk to about this. But in this, we see this thing that we may have been foliage. Of course, I said that it may be foliage because we only have one point of reference, right?
Yeah, right.
And and hello, Ken. Good to see you,
Ken.
So, but as it mentioned, it seemed to look like it had like a strapping on it, possibly something here, like a support strap, which, makes a lot of sense because to me, there we go. I carry a very similar bag, something like this.
Yeah.
That has one shoulder strap, and it actually has a support strap that comes around, not necessarily the waist, it kind of meanders up the stomach and over to the, depending on, your size. So we have this picture, and just so everybody knows, I did kind of invert it to make it a little more appealing, because the brightness of that really shields some of the detail. And in this, you can see when you invert the colors, there is making the white hot rather than they were using it on black hot. So the black, anything dark you see is hot, meaning that anything light is cold. So when we reverse it, it makes the white hot and anything dark cold. Yeah. As you can see that.
And in all fairness, we did discuss that before last week's show, that there was one spot that was kind of iffy. But I think we both agreed that it possibly, since we had this only with one image to look at, it could be a tree limb or some sort of bush foliage or something.
Now, for those who did not catch it, the BFRO did release a 34-second video, and I'm not going to play it because it's very pixelated, but I managed to extrapolate a few of the shots from it. Of course, you think they'd be queued up after having them queued up. So, so here's one of them, and I got to blow this up. And mind you, this is going to be very blurry and pixelated, but as you can see, here is the subject here, and we see a light spot here. Now, had a talk with Matt Moneymaker about this midweek, and this is apparently it going away from us. So now this is with its back to us. So that is very relevant. That in this picture we're seeing look like light lashing here, but when we get to the pack squatch, as Frank called it, we see a larger blurb, and we can actually see that in yet another photo. This one is a little more defined as it's walking away. Now, there's a couple of pictures like here where I believe it's actually walking towards the camera. But if it's not, if it's still walking away, it's still the strapping seems to be around the left. It's very hard to read sometimes with the pixelation on this. But what we do know is probably the clearest shot. Well, even that, again, there's another side kind of a shot, and you can see clearly there is something cold on the shoulder. He was using black hot as well. So that being said, I did manage to do a kind of a report on on what this actually was. And as you can see, I include a couple of the original pictures, and then we have the captures from Mr. Poole's video, Mike Poole, who was on last week, and you can see a little bit better as they're smaller. And again, like I said, the equipment used for the photos are still unknown by the writer. However, as mentioned, the video was taken with a FLIR Scout. They were both economy versions of thermal imaging equipment.
Yeah.
And as you can see in this particular picture that I included in the report, we have this woman walking from her vehicle. And there she is. And I'm going to zoom in on that. That one I do have pulled up. And as you can see, she is wearing clothes.
Right.
But she is completely uniform in color.
Right.
So I was wrong. It depends.
Well, yeah, it depends on the setting now. You change the setting.
Yeah.
You know, one way is going to see the face, and the other way.
Question from OT: is the video on their site? It's on a YouTube site, and the 34-second is actually looped. It's like a 7-second, 5-second, 7-second loop.
Yeah, over and over.
Over and over again. That's why it's 34 seconds, and it has a little arrow pointing towards the subject of the video. But as you can see, the important part is that we have a uniformly colored individual here that we know is a human being leaving a car with a pocketbook. Of course, this is white hot, so white is going to be hot, black is going to be dark. Reverse of OT says 5-7 seconds isn't too bad, but it's so pixelated, really pixelated, because it's zoomed in.
That's what got me. I couldn't tell what I was looking at, man. I mean,
yeah. But so here you have it. This is just evidence that I was wrong. I can be wrong too. As I said, well, I don't see any change in coloring that would indicate clothing. Well, that doesn't always happen, as you can see.
Yeah, depends
they're
on
they're definitely wearing shoes.
So we're definitely sure the video was done on a FLIR, and we're still not sure of the camera for the stills.
Correct. I believe it was a FLIR as well, but I'm not sure which model.
Okay.
So we have that.
The what am I looking for? The quality of the individuals right up and close. I mean, it's super, defined. So kind of having an idea what setup they had. If they were just using one of the small FLIR plugins like our Seeks.
Yeah. Well, as you can see from the original picture, this is the still.
Right. I mean, that's great definition. So.
Right. But when you get to the point where it becomes, when you start to zoom in on it, it's not really the greatest definition.
Well, it's that. But if you see, I got my screen share down below. Not my favorite picture in the world, but
it's not there.
It's not. Yep. Hang on. I'm on their other screen there. Hang on. There we go.
Still not seeing it, Mike.
I mean,
there we go.
That's the shoulder. That's generally how those shoulder bags are going. I mean, that's the same bag. You and I carry the same bag. Usually, some of our other guys carry it in front. I mean, that would definitely cover if you're carrying a sling bag. I mean, that's a small pack. It would cover that particular section of
exactly. It's the same pack I use as well. Yep.
Yeah,
and as you can see, there is the pack, and boy, does that not look similar.
Yeah.
You have the from that to this, you have the one strap, two strap around over the shoulder, and of course the pack being on the back. Then you have, this photo, or this capture of the
like it's on the left side when it's facing us, and it turns around. You see the big area on the back on the left. Yeah,
correct. Yep. Yeah. So, unfortunately, to me, it is what it is, and
I hate that because I really liked that still that they showed us.
Now, let me. I made a very big comment at the bottom of this. This does not in any way discount the personal experiences of the researchers over their expedition. And given those facts, I'm glad to actually hear that there's an effort to get, to go back out there with some
Yes.
some you know, some better video of perhaps what's going on out there.
Yeah.
Just because this is not a Sasquatch does not mean that there's not a Sasquatch out there.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, I would definitely, you know, when they brought those pictures last week to you, you know, it was picture 111 of 111. I'd like to see those 5 or 6 pictures ahead of that, even if they are quote unquote blobby. We at least would be able to confirm if there was still some definition of color, because it could have been that 3 or 4 feet closer, depending on the range and pixelization on that to really pick it up. So we can kind of say maybe backpack or maybe not, like you said. I would also like to really take a look at that FLIR video, and if they had any audio, because you know, their reaction to who's there. I mean, we just spent a couple of days in the woods up north, and you know, when we get out there, every little thing in the woods is, you know, the smallest little chipmunk or squirrel sounds like a herd of elephant coming through the woods. And then when you FLIR it and you've got something that's, you know, this big coming through the woods, and you're like, no, you know, is it shape-shifting in the woods or something like that? But, you know, it's like, it's right there. You know, I'm in the middle of switching computers over, so I don't have a lot of thermal on my new computer yet. So I'm just moving up my top. Oh, man, I just dropped it.
Something just fell.
Yeah, that was the microphone. I might need that. Somebody might not want to listen to me anyway. Let me see if I can pull up some small black and white or that mink for some reason.
Oh yeah, the mink could be awesome. So Joni, hello Joni, good to see you. Says, can tell the creature's male or female. We think it's actually somebody with a backpack. Now at this point in time, at least I do.
It's possible. Yeah. That's thrown up a big red flag for me on there. Yeah.
I mean, we have a cold spot on the front and the back. The front very clearly looks like the similar lashing that Mike had just showed us a little bit ago.
Yeah.
And guess who's in the house? Jimmy Trick's in the house, aka Charlie Wonton. Hello there.
Hello, sir.
And of course we got Nottingham Yankee. Hello from Nottingham.
Welcome. Yeah.
Greetings from over the pond.
We got Big Walt and Little Walt in there somewhere. I saw a message a while ago somewhere. Hey, Big Walt. Hey, Little Walt.
Do we know if they had any audio, or have they not released any of that as of yet?
No, they said they had gotten some tree knocks.
Okay,
but not necessarily that evening. A lot of their activity was on the previous days ahead of this.
Yeah, I'm talking about the banter among their team.
Right. Well, they said that they had heard something similar to the Sierra Sounds, the samurai chatter, but that has yet to be surfaced.
I want to hear that.
And like I said, I am not discounting what they said as far as their personal experiences. Absolutely not. It wasn't there. I can't really tell you. But what we can tell you is that this picture puts us there as far as this picture is concerned. And unfortunately, it just, you know, if I look at it from an investigative aspect or a scientific aspect, it has some issues. Not a big deal. It's not, you know, I am glad to see that they're going to put a little more pricey equipment in the field, because as you can see on the graphic to the show, that's Mike using an ATN thermal, and those bears are phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign into my other computer, and I'll throw out a link.
Of course, those are not low end thermals either.
Yeah, this is the ATN right here, you know, and you know, this is actually, it's only this is a 1x5 on it. You know, I have zooms on it. The nice thing about this one is I can do video and audio at the same time, and I can share it. So if I've got somebody in the field, and with Steven, we've done it before where we've thrown it out to a tablet and somebody could stand right next to us. Where now I have an 8-inch monitor that I take in the field with me, and somebody could sit there and plug it in with HDMI and watch it from. Well,
one of the things Mike and I did was he had the ATN plugged into a tablet, and I was driving down the road, and Mike was scanning the road with the ATN.
Yeah.
And it was pretty phenomenal. We actually stopped over a small little bridge culvert, and in the pond was a couple of ducks swimming around, and we clearly could see them on the thermal coloring and all. It's really and Pat, you're exactly right. Economy thermal will always be inconclusive. Not always. I mean, my thermal video I got in Pennsylvania, that was very conclusive that it was a bear, just from the motion it took afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
and if you're in close, I mean, those seeks are wonderful, and especially if you've got a team of people, and even my partner Christy, with my co-host for my podcast, she's got one of the FLIR ones that go in the bottom of her iPhone, and actually Marilyn's in here. Keith, they built a nice little setup where she can plug her iPhone in and kind of use it more of a turn station. In close, where you're walking down trails, they're really nice. The Seeks, I mean, for the $200, $300 where they are, plugging them in the bottom of the phone. Mine's out in the car because I leave it in the backpack for search and rescue stuff. But, if I don't have my phone, my buddy can download the app and I can pass it between 15 people.
Right.
And that's the big thing is where's your technology and what's your budget? I mean, you're in between each every couple of years, and are you running a night vision and you're running a thermal at the same time? It can get kind of expensive.
Thermal is great for ruling out stuff. How many times have we heard some stuff, fiddling around in the woods, and we've come up with mice? How about the owl? Well, that was night vision. Actually, it was like the owl.
Yeah, I'm pulling it. I'm going to pull that up for you. I'm sure some folks would like to see the owl.
One of the things I like doing is I put my Seek on a tablet, and I've gotten this like really hard shell tablet case with a cover on the front. And what I did was I cut the notch out of this here, so I could plug my Seek in, and then I can hold it up and we can scan, with the Seek, and other people can watch. Is it wonderfully clear all the time? No, not at all. But it does help. Okay, I see your share screen coming up. But
hang on one second. Yeah, let me give you a second to pull that other screen up here. So, actually, let me pull. HDMI cables.
OTS Seeks are pretty good to use ones for diagnosing burnt chips or electronics equipment. So I can replace them. Never tried far away. What is a realistic working distance?
I'd say about 100 yards, if that.
That. I mean, the bear video I had in Pennsylvania was maybe 25 yards, 30 yards. And it was along a tree line, and it kind of peaked up, kind of stood there for a second, and we could hear it. We could hear it.
Yeah.
And we turn around and truthfully, I was using my phone at the time, so we couldn't really tell until we got it back onto a bigger screen that was actually up there. We were actually like, what do we got?
Yeah.
What do we got? Now I got two share screens.
Yeah, you should only have one share screen for me. Yep.
I got two.
Not me.
Oh.
I got one with the file list, and I got another one with just a.
Yeah, we just want the file list. I don't.
Okay, so you want the file list one? So I'm gonna.
Yeah. So let's.
Well,
see.
I can't do nothing to that.
Did I share it?
There it is.
There it is. This is the mink. So.
Yeah, why don't you open that up?
Yeah. And why are you not? Oh, because that moved on to another screen. Hang on 1 second, folks. There we go. All right. So, let's pull her up here.
And that is a mink.
Yeah. Back here. So it comes right in. And that was probably about 100 yards off. But again, we're using white hot, so we get a little more definition. And I mean, that sounded like a bull coming through a Chinese shop, coming through the woods.
Yeah, they was.
What model ATN thermal is this, Mike?
There it goes.
This is the OTS 384 HD.
OTS 3E4
384 HD.
Okay.
And I know it says 321 because I just swapped batteries in the middle and didn't. The other smoke you see there from fire. But that's comparison. I got some better thermal. Let me grab something different out there, Steve.
That's pretty good. Does that actually record video, or do you got to plug it into something else to record the
No, it
video?
records video and audio on here.
Oh, wow.
Just let me know when you're ready to roll, Mike.
Yep. And that's pretty much why I went with this one. And this also works on lithium batteries. Some of them have their own proprietary battery. And the problem you run in with that is you're out in the field and your battery dies. So hang on 1 second, Steve, before you. That's us casting. So I'm looking for ATN stuff.
Yeah, plus if you got to buy a proprietary battery, whatever they're going to charge you for it, you got to pay.
Why don't you full screen that, Mike?
Full screen this. So this bad boy's at least it's good 100 yards away. Again, when we're moving down the road, I use the white hot because it really shows up. But you'll really get a nice clear image coming in. So again, it depends on your pixels, your pixel rate, what's there, which it just helps. I'm trying to find the owl here. Oh, here's the owl.
The owl on night vision. That was
the owl is on night. This is night vision. The interesting thing with the owl. So we started. So nobody else was running I was running a thermal, and we could hear it moving around, but I really wasn't seeing anything. And sorry, it looks like the Blair Witch Project here, but. And I was not the operator. Somebody else was using one of my cameras here, and let me pull it over right here. So
I'm so scared.
Well, it gets to be that way, especially.
I saw it.
There's the owl
on a stump.
On a stump. So it's down. It's on the ground. I did not see it on thermal until it decided to turn around and look at us. When it looked at us, you don't have the down, and the eyes just,
Yeah. Hello,
so
boys.
I mean that's night vision. That's probably 75 yards away. That was a Bushnell. Yeah, I remember the exact model. It's in the other room here.
Wow, that's clear, man. That is clear.
Yeah. So, put that on the tripod. It's not so bad. But when she got up and flew off on thermal, it was a whole nother experience. You could see the heat coming out from underneath the wings. So let me skip out of that one. And,
oh, man. You got all kinds of cool toys.
well, as I picked them up as we've gone along. Having those items available to us kind of helps out a little bit. But I started with the night vision, but you get some blowback with the night vision depending what kind of illuminator you have. So you won't see as far in. Then I went to the Seek. And the Seek was great. I saw something in the Adirondacks that I couldn't confirm or deny what it was. So I impulse bought on Amazon in the middle of the night the ATN.
Did you get your ass beat for that?
I did. I did. And I completely deserve that. Hang on 1 second. Let me just see what this one is, Steve. Okay. Oh, no, that's night vision. That's not good, night vision. That's me falling and
That's bad night vision.
that was the night that we had the rocks thrown at us, and
friggin' rocks thrown at us. That's right.
And I fell on my face.
Oops. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to add that. I got it back. Okay.
Wow.
All right. So yeah, I mean, where'd that screen go? The problem with running
And
2 screens.
This the thermal that Steve's got on the home page there. That was shot with that OTS
the ATN. Yep.
ATN. Okay. Wow.
And again, like I said, you get audio as well as video. So, I mean, like you said, it depends. It depends on your pixelization rate. There's a lot of stuff that can really go with, the different. I'm trying to find us another good. That's the deer.
There you go, Chris.
Wow.
There's another
gaggle
of us hanging out there.
Dude, I'm going to have me one of these. Only thing is, I'm going to have to hide it for about 6 months. So when I finally get it out, the wife said, "Where'd you get that?" Oh, I've had this thing for forever.
Yeah. One of my guys did that. He bought one of the ATN rifle scopes.
Yeah.
And she didn't find out about it till the bear showed up in the yard in the middle of the night. And they're like, "What's out there? Where did that come from?" Well, my research partner, his wife happens to work with me, and that didn't go over so well at work. So, Ray, if you're watching, we know your secret's out.
Hello, Ray.
Yeah. So, let me see. Give me a second. I'll find a couple others. But like I said, depending on the technology is there. I mean, we run security cameras now instead of trail cams sometimes because you can use the night vision in the security cameras. I run those out with the small battery packs, and that gives me 2-way audio with a small jet pack, little jet pack, the little MiFi box, and it runs back and forth. We'll leave them in my car and walk away if something comes up to the car. It's amazing. I've been down with some other people in Chautauqua County, New York, and nobody comes up here. Why has there been 5 cars since we pulled out of the parking lot? DDC, the FLIR breach, I definitely would like to get my hands on. That's a small little eyepiece setup. That's a nice setup. It's you're looking at a couple of grand. You're looking. This guy is about 1,700. So
OT says sleep buying is much like a thing like sleepwalking. I've used this a few times.
It was definitely not sleep buying. Yeah.
Amazon is dangerous. Amazon is more
CCC,
dangerous.
welcome to the show, and he says he has one, and they're awesome.
Cool.
Mike, I a lot of the equipment that we use, it's Christy goes better to ask forgiveness than forgiveness.
Yeah, she gets to use all this stuff when we go out. I don't.
A couple of the one of the things I used to do is when I had a battery pack, we actually hooked the DVR cameras around the campsite.
Yeah.
So anything that came in around the campsite, and we could watch it live because we had the monitor. So if we would hear something coming, stalking around the camp, we could see. So Johnny asks, what is a parabolic dish? So a parabolic dish is a dish you can add. You got.
Yeah, he'd like that one.
A parabolic dish is something you can add to a microphone. It's attached to a microphone. The dish is behind, so you can target listening over a long distance. So that's what a parabolic.
We picked these bad boys up driving. A couple hundred yards out in the field.
That is a nice looking buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of younglings there. So, it's amazing. We show more. We show more live animals on this show than a certain guy in Canada. And supposedly he knows how to hunt. Anyway, but yeah, I think I'll never forget that night though. Mike, talk about the night we had the rock throwing.
Okay. So we went up. I thermed an area, turned it off. We're top of the mountain. We were actually there a couple weeks ago again. Nice sprinkles, but when we got there, we got some nice knocks. Somewhere I got the audio buried in here. I got back behind the car. I'm leaning over the top of a Chevy Equinox, so you're gonna get, my head's up above it. Team member in the front, Steve's in the back, going through messing with his 4K camera, and out of nowhere, I get hit right in the middle of the forehead.
Oh.
So I stop and I look up, going, "Okay, is it acorns? Is it something else? Coming off the tree?" And then the next rock comes over and skids across the roof and hits me in the face. And I'm like, what in the hell? Now again, the thermal's in the pocket. GoPro's just about to die, like always. They never say. So now, actually, with the small cameras, I had one. Yeah, I'm running the battery packs for the cell phones into those too. So I'm going to chest mount, running that, so it gives me a good 8 hours of juice, because that 15 is it never works when it works. But still running audio, so at least I can dictate what was going on. And then the handful comes through. Steve gets pelted in the back of the car. The whole side of the car gets it. I come around. By the time I got that camera up and around, can't see a thing.
Yeah.
I got something. I can't say what it is, and I'll it's here, but you'll see a hot blob on camera. But
it was like really when Mike said he got hit, a couple of times. I was like, I didn't know where he was, the orientation was, and then all of a sudden that whole handful of rocks came, pebbles or whatever came through, like something just picked up a scoop and just went, and it pelted me in the back. So it was coming. I think it was actually coming from across the road where we were, rather than on the same side of the road we were, which is probably why we couldn't see it. It was probably like,
you don't know. And I mean, just the rainy nights, for some reason, we just seem to really get a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense why we're out there.
So, Joni, let me give you a good, a better example of, people like using parabolics. I don't, because, and Mick makes a great comment that they're great, but they're only good if you have them pointed at a focal point of the audio. You want to capture them and register anything outside of that. What I do is I take my Zoom, and I can actually plug a Zoom H2N, and I can actually plug either earbuds or headphones on them. And if I turn that gain up and put a 4-way speaker, I can hear 360 around me for quite a distance.
And hair length is another thing. We saw the deer a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is what, a dog looks like up close, See if we can get her on large there. Oh, not the right one.
Let me know when you're ready to roll. I'll hit it to the ad stream.
It should be Vita. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Let me play her again. That's just coming right in, close, but you really can. Right. And I went out one night. Yeah. I got the Shepherd out. I got the Doberman out. I'm comparing heat temperatures. We've changed colors. And that's another thing, depending on what the background is when you're doing it. If that sun is hitting a tree all day long. So when we were up in the decks there a week ago, some of that footage, looking at those trees, you really, until you get a real hot animal in there, it's really, sometimes you just get a mass of, if you're using white or using a black, it really darkens out. But that one piece will actually really bust right through when you're looking.
Yep. It was kind of funny because the mink, I had thermed as well. I didn't record, but that's how we could tell it was a mink, because it had kind of a profile of a fisher cat almost, except it was smaller. And fisher cats, minks, weasels, they're all related. And I know minks go up trees, not so much fisher cats because they're too big, and that corkscrew, how they go up, and that's how we could tell it was actually a mink. And then it kind of peered at us for a little bit. I could see the head, and
that's what I like about Mike's thermal there. I mean, the resolution is so clear. Not only could you tell that was a dog running up towards you, that's a Doberman.
Yeah.
It's you could identify what breed of dog it was. That's very good resolution on it. Very, very sharp detail.
Yeah. Well, that's again, that's the difference between an economy FLIR and in a regular flare. And oh, you're welcome, Johnny. I think I use an H2N to listen, and it's really because I'll put it on there and it'll be like, I mean, just crank that volume up, crank the mic input up, and you can hear anything for Sometimes it gets annoying because even though it's omnidirectional, you can't really tell which direction it's coming from. But that's why you rely on your other people to say, "Hey, that's coming from over there." Okay.
Well, and that's the thing. Like when I run my audio, and Steve from doing the paranormal stuff, they live listen.
Yep.
So now what I'm doing is I've got a small Sony, goes in my backpack, goes on that sling pack, and then I have a stereo microphone that's clipped to the back of my backpack. So it's shooting out like a parabolic on either side. So if I'm walking and something's pacing me on either side, or I'm getting a little hard of hearing, I've got that earpiece in so I can hear what the guy's whispering next to me too. But you get a really nice surround sound of what's behind you.
Yep.
Pay attention to who you're in the woods with, because I had a research partner scream. She found something really cool one day, and I almost went deaf. So thank you, thank you, Stacey. Those cheap recorders, if you don't have the money for the Zoom, that Sony is great. Plus, it's got a USB plug in there. You plug it right into the car. You can listen when you're driving back and forth, because you're going to have. I did a overnight with a friend from Naked and Afraid from the TV show. Aaron and I did 16 hours in the woods in the Everglades.
Right.
8.5 hours listening to me snore. And something getting thrown at the cabin that night, but it's the ability to listen back and forth and having that extra little piece of equipment. For this last trip, we didn't get to use it. We're running baby monitors, so you can go ahead, and they've got little PTZ cameras to take out with it. So the technology's there if you're there.
Yeah, that's the thing, and the prices are coming down on it too. I mean, used to this stuff's like $12,000 for a decent thermal.
Yeah,
and now that it's come down, of course, it's not cheap yet, but it's not even inexpensive yet, but it's getting there.
No, you can find something, and they're coming down. ATN's got a whole new line coming out soon. They've got binoculars coming out. I've got a really good piece of thermal here. Steve, do you want to mention any of that new technology we went over last week or 2 weekends ago? Some of the apps?
Hey, go ahead. Go for it. A couple of the new apps that we're starting to use as a team to help us. But before we get into that, I just wanted to so Jody can see, this is actually an H2 Zoom recorder. It's got a mount on the bottom. You can put it on a tripod. You can leave it out. This is the H2N. The H2s are silver, a little older. These are a little more simplistic, but they have a great digital output. You can see what you're recording. Now, another thing too is you were talking about boosting night vision and stuff like that. One of the little finds I found on Amazon, and it's a I'm trying to think what make this is a Make One IR flashlight, and believe it or not, this little guy here for $11 works better than any of the phantom lights, anything like that. They work phenomenally, and I get them for like $11, $12. I think they're up to maybe $14 or $15 now, but even so, for $15, and what I do is it comes with a belt clip, and as you can see, it's a little extended. That's because I actually slide that onto my camcorder, which has night.
Oh yeah. And
I use that. I use a lapel mic system for my camcorder. I have a wireless mic system, and I have a splitter. So I have my Zoom, my lapel mic, so I can narrate and talk, and this IR spotter on the camera. So not only do we have all kinds of stuff. So if we hear something and this is something that I strongly recommend, is if you're using a video camera. Hello, Amy. Good evening.
Oh, hi, Amy.
If you're using a night vision camera, if you have some way to add an audio input, use your Zoom. Get a Zoom, put it on there, because if you get that distant howl scream, not only are you going to document the audio, but it's going to be on your video.
Right.
So you can actually have a dual. Because what I do is when I put it on my shoe with the camcorder on it, I actually record too with my therm, or record too with my my recorder. So I have an audio recording of what's going on, and I also have the video with the audio attached to it. So you can extrapolate. If you want to enhance it and play it over or something like that, you can do that with the audio file rather than having to do it through a video file. But at least the video, you're documenting everything. You're documenting the time, the date, who was there, what was going on, the reactions, whatever.
That Zoom audio recorder is going to get a lot higher definition audio too than your camera.
Oh yeah. Hey, and that's the other thing about using the thermal that I have. It has a built-in rangefinder and GPS, but having that rangefinder, you can, pick your animal, pick a deer, set your perimeter mark. I mean, you could do a person or whatever. Like I said, I bought it originally for search and rescue work. It does come with a crosshair, so I want to make sure the original scope I was good. You can get a Thor, which is the same model, but it's more set for hunting, but that's got crosshairs. It's not always the best thing, but having that rangefinder, it really gets you a little better. So if somebody says, well, I was, whatever, well, you got a rangefinder, you got a little height, you set at the bottom, you set it at the top. Porcupines, another weird thing to catch in a tree with a thermal. And again, the night vision that's out there, you can get night vision with audio. So you have that video and you have that audio capability. There's that new psionics or something like that. That's my next one. My research partner, Paul, that's out here with us, the field biologist. He's working on getting us a sample to give it a shot. But the Bushnell I have works amazing. I mean, it gets you nice quality.
And those are great, too, if somebody has a sighting. From where they're standing to where it was, use the rangefinder. It's equipment like that. If you can't walk it and it's down I'm standing on the, the witness says, I'm standing on the hill and it was down in the crevasse and it's over. Yeah, get that rangefinder out. You can tell from point A to point B how far it is. The other stuff you need to have too is like for ground is a walking wheel, stuff like that. The Keeson rod, which I've showed on the show before, where you can actually take pictures next to it.
And now we're the apps.
Mick made a good point too. There is a difference, and as we could see that between the owl earlier and the ITN images and the mink, there is a difference between thermal and night vision.
Yeah.
Night vision is only going to go so far, and then it becomes black, whereas a thermal will shoot through. And a lot of people are starting to interchange those, and that's because some of the thermal, like the ITNs, that's really hard to tell sometimes whether you're looking at a thermal or a night vision because it's so clear.
Yeah,
right. And vice versa. There's some night visions out there that are so good you think you're looking at thermal. So you have to
as technology improves, the night vision stuff is a lot better now. Now, when it first came out, I got one of those binoculars for hunting, and it was like $130 or something at that time. And it didn't work long, and it didn't work very well either. But
no.
that was because it's one of the first ones that's coming out, Yep. But I think now it's probably a lot better stuff now.
I started with.
And how are you, Edward? Good to see you here.
With this beast, which is a Gen 1 Russian surplus that a buddy gave me. And every so often, it's working pretty good tonight. But if the IR illuminator's not right on there,
Right.
you don't have, but you have no record. You just
Right. It's
this
just
is what you give to the new guy. So when he goes running off in the woods, he doesn't drop it, or when they stare at a fire, which I've seen happen a few times, tends to burn out the sensors on both the eye,
Right,
the thermal and the night vision.
And there's a big difference. Like you can look at like thermals are not sensitive to light. So you can look at a lot of things with a thermal. But you can't with a night vision. A night vision, you will burn out that IR sensor, because if you ever look at some IR scopes, when it gets very bright, they also go very dark because they're trying to preserve. That's a safety catch in some of the IR sensors. Not all units have that. So if you do get a night vision scope, be careful using that around light. You don't want to burn out that IR scope. But therms are good. Therms are good.
A buddy of mine had some of this surplus military, I think it was Czechoslovakian made night vision equipment. It had like a big freaking handheld spotlight that was infrared. Yeah. And you could like shine that way out, and you could see way out, even if your camera wasn't really that great. But if you turn the spotlight towards the camera, it's just like turning a regular spotlight on a camera. It whites you out,
Chris, question for you. Did that Czechoslovakian night vision scope, did that have the original Eskimo seal binding skins on them?
Oh, I don't know. Best I remember, it come in a wood box. It was a green wood box. No joke. Yeah. Pretty cool.
So here's an interesting thing too, not to get off topic, but I wanted to cover this real quick tonight too, is, looking at things in night vision. Some people will see things in night vision in the eyes, or, here's a creature without a tapetum lucidum, the eye reflective. And actually, this was kind of neat. This is a specific type of gorilla that has only been seen rarely. Literally, I think this is like the first time they've gotten really good trail cam pictures of them. And I forget what type, but there they are. This is off a trail cam, and they're actually a swimming gorilla. From what I understand, is they actually swim. And they're very rare, and they're lowland gorillas. They're not highland gorillas. Yeah. And I just caught this on one of the news feeds earlier, and I thought that was really, really cool. And look at the eye shine on those. That's the eye shine you're going to get no matter what animal you get.
Is this the stuff that Forrest Gallant from Extinctor Alive found just recently?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, he's only seen them once in like 25 years. And it was a very brief encounter. Like people wonder why Sasquatch is so elusive. Why they're so elusive. Well, here they are. This one looks kind of angry over here.
There it is. Cross River Gorillas. That's it.
That's it. Cross River Gorillas. Thank you. Yeah. Yep. But just amazing set of photos.
Wow.
And it's kind of funny. Look at the young standing up straight. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, those were only photographed like in the last 5 years or so. Yep. Or maybe the last 6 years, whatever it was. They just recently got photographs of them. Yep. They had been reported before, but nobody had a photograph of them.
Yep. Mom looks a little angry.
Pretty cool.
But the silverback kind of looks like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
But I just wanted to pop that up there. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I just Forrest had posted it. We're friends on Facebook, so because he's friends with Aaron that I was down in the Everglades with.
Hold on a second. See the News Todd Standing video talking crap about me. Oh, well, I'd like to know what he said, Obstruct. So please, just a couple of bullet points of what he said about me. That's kind of funny. Because he doesn't know what's coming. He does not know what's coming.
And we want to remind all of our viewers on YouTube, please, if you hadn't already, hit the like and subscribe button and ring the bell for notification that helps us add more stuff to the channel. Thanks.
Well, you know what? Standing King hoaxer.
Well, yeah.
Gorilla glove. In the backseat of a car. Something in his new video, grabbing an apple. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Why is, what
That's
a coincidence.
If you see gorilla gloves in the back of somebody's car, if you have a little foresight, you can expect a video coming up with a Sasquatch hand going to do something, Yeah.
So if he...
But that's for another show, though, right?
Said something about introducing you all to all your experts or something like that. Oh, so basically, they're experts and blah, blah. You know what, Todd? You know what? It just may mean that I need a new video about you. You see, you would think that... never mind. Let's continue on. Yeah. I don't want to get sidetracked with Boob from...
Mr. Winters posted there about the... gorilla thermal experiments. I tried to find the link, but it doesn't seem to go through. So
okay,
that would be kind of an interesting. If somebody has some good thermal footage, I'd like to see that just so I could take a look at some things.
Ken Collins just called Todd Standing the Tiger King of Bigfoot. Thank you, Vim. Thank you, my friends. Thank you.
I said it before. I'll say it again.
All good. All good. Abstract. We that's the beauty of the show.
Yeah.
Well, this is the beauty of the show. Is sometimes we get off track, but it's because it's an interactive show. We actually listen to what our posters are saying, and it's really cool that we can get them off the different social media networks. Really cool.
Yeah.
So.
My question, Steve, is what are your listeners using for technology, cameras, and brands and stuff like that? I mean, it'd take a poll and see who's beating what up in the woods would be a great,
Yeah.
I know I'm one of the only guys that's really using the ATNs when we're out. I know a lot of people are big on the FLIR, especially the FLIR Scout. I mean, it's reasonably priced. I know Jay just switched out to something. Oh, he went to
but you know what?
Scout from the Seek too.
Here's my issue. Here's my issue with the FLIR Scout. This was a FLIR Scout. This was a FLIR Scout.
Right.
This was a FLIR Scout. I don't want something like that.
Right.
I want something like that.
Yeah.
So ATN is going to be the way to go.
That's it.
If you want evidence, not just something to rule something out. So Dave DDCC says FLIR technology horrible.
Well, that's the TK. Now I know he mentioned that he had the breach. The breach is eye size. It's like a PVS 14. Yeah. It was designed for.
Good for you, Pat.
Yeah, and I would like to get my hands on a breach just for size comparison. It's easy to throw, and that's the other thing is what can you throw in your pockets? What's weight? You're climbing a mountain. What do you got on you, and what are you going to take with you? He's got a wow on the breach. But the breach.
Well, if you think it's
2,500 or $3,000 or something like that. So. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
If you think about it, there's so much that you have to consider carrying in, depending on how remote your location is. I mean, that's why it's really and you know what? The Todd Standing conversation continues on. People really don't like him here. I wonder why he doesn't have any night vision footage of Sasquatch. Because
I've seen that video. I've seen that. He's waving a flare in the darkness and saying, "What do you want? Go away!"
And then Abstract says, "Drop another video to expose his weight matter."
I like how the flashlight on and say, "Come closer to the light."
Oh,
so I can
by the
get
way,
you a
Pat's
real
using
video.
an Auto Evo 2 Dual. So we're all typing that in to see
Well,
what the.
yeah, I have no idea, man. This is all this technology. The closest I've ever had to anything was like one of those cheap binoculars.
Oh, okay. So it's a drone.
Oh,
It's a drone. Yep.
I am good at crashing those things.
Well, Chris, now they have the return to home.
Oh, well, every time my son gets one, hey, Dad, try this out. Man, I crash it.
Yeah, now they well, the more expensive ones have they have the controller which you can snap your either tablet or your phone into, so you can actually see where your phone. One of my friends, Mike Veronini.
That's not a bad price.
Yeah, Mike Veronini has one. He did some photography for me. It's not a thermal one, but he put that sucker up, and you can actually see it flying from the screen. You're getting a live feed from that, and it's really cool because it's way the heck out, but it's still getting the signal on.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you hit navigate to home, and it'll auto come back and land itself where your within 10 feet of your tablet.
Okay, I can handle that. Yeah, that'll be all right.
Seth had his out, just sitting there on the deck when we were hanging out, changing out some, and it was like just tracking him around. It was just awesome to watch that. But yeah, and Pat had mentioned, you can, and David you can hear him. Yeah, it sounds like a swarm of bees coming at you, which is great. I mean, it's a nice setup.
As far as this technology is, I can relate to one aspect of it. Because my cell phone is like an antique and the battery is dead, so I always have to carry around a battery pack with me, either that or no phone. Right. But if anybody is going to buy a battery pack, get one of these big thick things from Amazon or eBay. They're about 10 or 12 bucks, and they've got like I think it's 18650 lithium-ion batteries in it. And if it ever goes bad, you can take the cover off and throw the battery away and stick new ones in there. And they're rechargeable for like 1,000,000 times,
And here's the other thing too. If you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere camping as well, there's also the solar powered.
Oh,
you can leave it out solar powered, and you can.
Now that is cool.
Yeah, you can actually plug 2 devices into it and charge 2 devices.
Yeah.
And this can also be recharged through a wall charger, but it can also charge by just leaving it in the sunlight.
Now that is cool.
So that.
Hey, I'm always good to travel with my gear and drag Steve with me. If you're close enough in the Northeast,
Yeah.
Yep.
The back of my truck rolls out. Last week I got a marine battery with an inverter so I can hook up half the stuff while I'm out in the field.
Yeah.
And then somebody pulled up a nice, good old fashioned jet pack or something like that. It's small portable generator, and it was like, oh,
hey,
wow.
Chris, good to see you here tonight. Hate to break the news to you, but we had a whole bunch of stuff we talked about in the first hour.
Yeah.
You just catch us on replay. It was more about the type of technology we use and Mike uses. Especially when Mike's with me, he's got all his toys with him. I have a Seek, like I said, my standard rollout is a Seek thermal. I do have a digital, very small digital night vision, which I really don't use too much anymore because in the woods, it's really not the greatest. And I use recorders. Future equipment coming, trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the best we've gotten recently is the mink.
Yeah.
And, of course it was this isn't our squatching time of year. A lot of people don't understand that where we are, at least in my areas right now, it doesn't really pick up till the end of this month. So we're getting close. And then from here till the best time ever is from September through mid-November. Those are the best times. Those are the best times to catch what we're doing. Catch them what they're doing rather.
Another small one, Chris, if you're looking for something that doesn't record, Leopold makes it looks like a regular rifle scope. And it's no bigger than cell phone or so, just round, like like a small Tasco scope or something like that, almost like a red dot. And my partner's got one. It's got really nice quality footage. You can't record it. It's for a hunter to find a game at the end of the day.
Right.
They're great. They're great tools, but you know what? I'd be kicking myself in the ass if I spent a lot of money on something that doesn't record. I can see this wonderfully, and I can't record it. It just does. It just doesn't fit for what we need to do.
Right, and I mean that's just it with the Seek, with the FLIR 1 that goes into the phone. You can at least you can get the video and stuff off your your phone. So that's my backup if I run out of batteries. The only thing is it kills your phone too. So or your tablet. So
Mick. Mike Patterson. I'm thinking of Mike Patterson, the Sasquatch, Ontario. Yeah, if he can come now, not likely. Not likely. And even DD said, yeah, it's got to record.
Yeah,
they're nice to have, but like I said, we're beyond. Maybe 10 years ago, it'd be cool to have one of those because hardly anything recorded 10 years ago.
Right.
Heck, 10 years ago, your thermal imagers, even your FLIRs, didn't record anything but pictures. You met Jim, who was at our encampment here a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And he brought his FLIR. His FLIR caught the 2013 FLIR images that we had along the Pulteney River in what I call, Research Area 2.
That's an industrial fire style. That's the pistol grip style.
Yep.
Which and then there's your pluses and minuses. You spend a couple hours or even 20 minutes on a scope, be it night vision, be it thermal, and you're blowing that eye out. With the fire style, you're blowing yourself out. So if there's something that can perceive that there's a light there, unless they're coming in to figure out what you are, you're not blowing out your night vision as bad. But if I'm on that scope, I'm done. I got to carry about a 3,000 candle power flashlight, so I could light up. Hey, I do see something. That's the pluses and your minuses. Where you go with that.
So we do have a couple of questions from OT over in the chat. I've noticed that certain areas have decent activity, but during seasons, example winter, there is nothing. So is there a migration of Bigfoot moving around this weather related or game? And then he follows up with, I remember you said 2 episodes ago that in 2012, 2014 was quite frequency where you did research.
Yeah.
There was a drop off on precipitation in the Northeast. Actually, that period of time was from 2010 till 2013. By 2013, it kind of dropped off, but 2010, 2011, 2012, very busy. 2013, nothing. But that's why we moved over to research 2 to see if anything was going on, and that's where we got the therms. And I don't necessarily think it has to do with the precipitation, why things got quiet in the research area 1, and that was because we had an interloper who was on my team and then decided to take his team, and there was another gentleman too as well that was that used me for the better part of words to gain some knowledge. And when I left his team, he decided to explore that area as well. So when you have people doing tactics that are not necessarily used to, like if you start probing with a lot of people and pestering them, they're going to move on. They're going to, okay, this area is not safe. Their defense is avoidance, so they're going to move away. But that being said, there is a definite drop off in peak activities. And I've said it, it's common knowledge. I've said this before, as well as my mentor, one of my mentors, Bill Brand, who would say, that there is some movement between the Green Mountains and the Adirondacks. And that's when, guess what's in the middle of all that? Whitehall, New York, which is, where all the stuff is going, where all the sightings and the roadside crossings and the incident at A Bear Road. If anybody's caught Seth Breedlove's second film out, which was The Beast of Whitehall, there is a great example of what happens. What happened back in the 70s that really brought the attention to Whitehall. But it still goes on. I mean, there was a sighting last September. Surprise, September again. Almost a year to the day, to the day of a sighting we did probably 8-9 years ago. Within, maybe a half mile crossing Route 4. In this case, it crossed Route 4 over and into the south side of Route 4, which, guess what? In 2006, we had a huge flap. What I call a huge flap is we had a total of 6 witnesses, 3 separate occasions on a particular road in Whitehall. None of them knew about one another. And just around that time, too, was the one seen walking alongside Route 4 and then turning into the brush north of Route 4, but in the same general vicinity of where that road is on the south side. So very interesting. You get these spurts. And to me, as an investigator, that is huge. It gives a huge credibility to what the witnesses are saying.
Yeah. Yeah, in Kentucky, it seems like there's certain times of the year they move around more. More active,
So, Deborah Jones says he has a true story to tell about something frightening my brother's experience in the Pennsylvania mountains in the 1980s. It was enough to scare the heck out of him. Interesting. Mick, question for Mike. To his knowledge, are there any viable night vision cameras that can be mounted on a drone for shooting from the air?
There are. There's. I've worked with the guy. It was Seth and his guys the other day. And we were talking about some of the DJI stuff. That there's some aftermarket thermals and night visions that you can add on. Parrot has one that has both cameras mounted already.
Yep.
So you if you've got the money, the stuff is there. There are a couple of drone sites out there. I don't do a lot with drones. I have guys that do a lot with drones. I just don't have time to.
Hey, Mike,
get them up. Yeah.
Chris will get this joke. I know where you can find a cheap blimp. And attach some thermals to that. Anyway,
so I mean, so the technology's there. Actually, Moneymaker had mentioned, or I think one of his guys was actually looking at the Parrot. There's some great DJI thermal footage. You guys hunting hogs, look up DJI thermal hog hunting, and they actually hunt the hogs down with the DJI and then herd them, and then the guys are on the ground with the ATNs, of course. And FLIR makes there's a lot of them. That X2, there's quite a few out there. Like I said, where I am, I'm usually on the ground, and I got a guy that's running a thermal DJI drone. So, I mean, he's also got LiDAR. I mean, that's a whole nother adventure that, we're looking, you're looking at about $3,000 or $5,000 to $9,000 for a cheap LiDAR unit for a drone, where you can put it up and scan for the caves and everything else like that. He said, I've got one of my guys as a scientist. He works with drone. He teaches a whole drone ecology class. And I mean, I leave the drone stuff to him. So it's one less thing I need to buy because he's already got it. So,
So Sean says there's activity in Massachusetts is always through mid-August through November, just about the same time we have activity over here, which is kind of interesting. So my question is, what part of Massachusetts are you talking about? The western part of Massachusetts or the Berkshires, where they could very easily head north for the winter into the Green Mountains, very similar to what they're doing here. For all we know, that may be the same grouping that hits the Adirondack some years and the Berkshires the other. And if that's the case, my thing would be interesting to compare notes with Sean. What years there's a lot of activity versus what years there aren't. And I'm wondering if they're opposite of what our
Right.
activities, man. Like maybe this group goes here some years and there some years.
Right.
That would be kind of interesting to look at. And that's
Plot
the
that
kind
with Google.
yeah, and that would be the kind of thing we need to do. So Sean, reach out to me on PM and we'll get together and talk about that. If you're not that far, maybe we'll get together, and compare notes in person. That would be wonderful. And it would be good to kind of look at, how that's working out.
That would
Rod
be
is
cool.
in Rod. Oh, attention everybody. Rod is in the house. Hello, Rod. Good to see you here
Rod.
tonight. One of our frequent flyers here at
Yeah.
Squatch-D TV. So, let's just take a quick commercial break here for a minute, and I'm going to talk about Eastern Mass. Okay, on the New Hampshire Mass border. Okay, so maybe they're moving up to New Hampshire in the. I still like to compare notes with you sometime, though, Sean. I just want to let everybody know that I hope everybody's getting the postings. When I do a show announcement now, I'm able to post them on the YouTube channel, which is awesome since we, hit our new mark. So we can actually.
That would be something to look at too, Steve, and cross that information over with when it's berry season in each area.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Well, if there's berries, like for example, where we are in research 1. There isn't the only food source I can really point out as far as is plant matter and wildlife.
Yeah.
And there is plenty. Obviously, Mike said there's plenty of little wildlife out there.
Oh, there's turkey. That's the first thing you want to see when you're driving down and
turkey
out of
deer.
nowhere, turkey come flying at you with a thermal camera. It looks like something out of Jurassic Park for the first time you see it. You're like, what's that? Yeah, but I mean that whole area, Steve, that we've been in, and again, somebody asked, does rain make a difference? And every time we're up there, when it's a really junky day, is usually when I see we have more activity. I mean, that last time though, I've never heard the woods as quiet.
The last time we were out here,
deathly quiet.
You could hear a pin drop in those woods the entire time we were out there.
I mean, it
just
was
about.
Everybody. I mean, it's actually creeping everybody out. Like literally, I've never heard it that quiet in the woods.
Yeah. And then the morning came, and it was like everything was normal.
Yep.
And then the night, and it was noisy, and then all of a sudden, poof. Like, hey, where'd all the little sounds go? They're not there. I mean, literally, it was like dead air. Just
and that was the thing. I mean, I spent about 4 hours by myself at the location, nobody else around, and trying out some new audio software for birds using bird.net. It's from Cornell, and basically you can record and analyze, and it'll pretty much tell you what the birds are in your area. And it was kind of interesting, of course, now the app's going on. But it was interesting because it's kind of that we had pick up, and it's like, they're not, it's still picking up in multiple recordings, what it's got out there. And
you know what happened, Mike, is you left that recording when I was talking.
Oh, we got human too.
Well, no, you left it. You left it recording, and I checked it, and it said it was a blue-crested bullshitter, whatever kind of bird that is.
Yeah, so we tried a whole bunch of new software out there too. I mean, we 3D scanning apps, for folks that forget that they didn't take your casting material with them. I mean,
that 3, and you know what? That's going to be loaded on my phone as well as the bird.net. Because those are invaluable tools. Invaluable. The 3D one especially is really cool. Describe that a little bit more for.
So it's a scan 3D, and basically I'm going to mess it up. It's photogeometry or something like that. But you're basically taking multiple photos, and it's the app or software you're using will stitch everything together, and it'll give you a 3D look. Well, it's nice because you can actually turn the. I don't know if my camera will pick it up as well as it should, but just a sample we did. So bringing it up now. So
Oh, it caught me talking, and it was a standing pigeon.
yeah. Let's go back to the other viewer here. Let's see view. So yeah, basically you'll get your scan of what you're looking at.
Right.
And now if you rotate it, you can actually see what the impression is on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll go to the other viewer here. Back again one more time.
Now that is cool.
So if you had somebody that had a 3D printer, so you take that photo and you can turn it around. Turn my phone off. It's a brand new phone. So you can look at both sides of your target.
So you can actually get a print.
You
can actually get a footprint, and you can
really
actually
look at where the definition is.
So think about that. You can get that impression and then go to somebody with a 3D printer and print out.
Yeah. So you know, like,
is that correct, Mike?
Yeah. So like my original thing, this is a camera charger. So you literally, I took the camera charger picture, but you can actually see the definition if I took the photos.
And you keep turning your phone off.
Yeah, I keep turning my phone off. But you can get the definition on both sides.
Obstrek also says Displayland app for 3D mapping is really good as well. Yep.
That's really cool. I've got one on here, and that's really cool because you can get right up and take a photo and get the whole scene around. Yeah. Which really makes it a nice. I don't have one saved on here right now.
Oh man, that's mapping software that brings back a 3D rendering. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a nerd about it, but if you check some of the Mars rover photos and see some of the stuff they put together, it's awesome, man.
And I mean, yeah, you can get a handheld scanner for about $3,000, but
Yeah.
But if something quick with a phone, and there's some other 3D ones that'll just give you some of the kids' app. At least you can turn things around, like Fuse and stuff. And that's basically, I got a Carrie, I don't know if she's still in here or not, reached out to me from Mass and said, "Hey, I'm in the woods. I don't have any casting material. What do I do?" I go, download a 3D scanning app. And she got some great, and it was good. You could see it was definitely a double bear because you could really turn that where you trying to get the light angles and everything. So that 3D scanner app for somebody goes, "Man, do I have prints or do I have just a watermark?" You really can get that depth that we don't see because the apps really get in there and pull it up.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on, there's some free ones out there and there's a couple of them you pay $5 or something for.
And that would save you having to cast a whole lot of prints just to view the definition of them too, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And, you got it in 5 minutes instead of 10.
Right.
And I was able to do that in the woods without a cell signal, which was even better because half those apps are going out there. So the little things that are available.
So we do have a question from good afternoon, Colonel Chubbs. He says, "Hey guys, was the Falcon project a good concept plan in your opinion?" Yeah, I mean, why not? Let's put but as far as the operational side, I don't know. In concept, it sounds like a great idea. Put something quiet and stealthy up in the air, and fly it. But the problem is like a drone, you're going to have those propellers propelling it. So why not just use a drone now? When the Falcon project started, there was no drone technology. Is that not right, Chris? I mean, drone technology was...
Yeah, but it wasn't advanced as what it is.
It was very primitive.
Yeah.
So let's create this blimp.
That could stay aloft longer. I mean, and quieter if you just leave it on site. I mean, if you tethered something like that off, you're on site a lot longer.
I think a tethered one would be a little more, but I think the problem with the tethered one was if the wind would catch or it would spin, you would have problems with the tethered one. So their whole idea was to put one up in the air with motion. But if you're going to run motors, why not just use a drone? Rig a drone up with.
Well, now they have tethered drones now.
Yeah.
So you can get it. The fire services down in like New York City and some of the bigger, they'll put a tethered drone up because then you have power and you're good for hours.
And that's
hours,
not,
you know.
I mean, you would have to put at least 2 or 3 points on that on the tethers, so you can stabilize it to keep it from spinning.
I think it was actually a pretty good idea, but the main drawback was the wind.
Yeah. Well, even then they were having problems with the wind, but
yeah.
But the major problem with that whole program was the funding.
Yeah.
There was a lot of promises made, and I guess things didn't work out the way they were supposed to. So
I've never tried to build build a blimp like that, so I don't know really what it would cost. So I really can't comment, but it seemed like it wouldn't be too much.
Right. So the way I look at it is, listen, I wasn't in the inner workings of that. I only heard rumor and supposition and whatever. It didn't work out. It is what it is. Obstruct P has another question. Is there a Bigfoot cover-up going on? My answer to that is negative. I think that there is. You only see a cover-up when it deals with like security secrets. Like there's no doubt there was cover-up, and it's come to light now with releases that there was cover-up in the UFO field. And that's been going on for real. I mean, J.L. Hynek, who is the doctor, the astronomer or astrophysicist, I forget what his doctorate was in, but he worked for years with Project Blue Book, and then came out and said, "Listen, we weren't being honest." So he was the first one to blow the whistle that the government wasn't being honest on UFOs. Then we have all these releases of these new videos that's kind of saying, "Oh yeah, we actually had a program in the 10 years ago that covered this stuff." So put that aside. As far as Sasquatch is concerned, what national security risk do they have? None. They have a financial risk. So if there's any kind of cover up going on, it's just an unwritten word, an unspoken word, just to ignore it. Because what happens is if the government acknowledges it eventually, which that's why it's going to take a huge step to prove that they exist. Once they prove they exist, now the government's in a conundrum, because now how are we going to? I mean, look what they did to the logging industry with the spotted owl.
Yeah, there goes the logging industry.
Yeah, what's going to happen to the logging industry when there's a new primate running around the woods?
Can we have people still camping out in the woods? I don't know. Yeah. Seems like they might disturb their habitat or something.
Right. So, it is. Somebody asked if I have seen the undercover footage from the Beast of Brushy Creek. No, I have not.
No.
Monetary losses usually don't cause, especially with something that, if I bring a Bigfoot to light tomorrow, if somebody walks in tomorrow with a Bigfoot body somewhere and it's proven to exist, how long is that going to be tied up with red tape to prove that it's even endangered? Because then, we know they exist. So now we're going to put scientists on it, government scientists, and we're going to study them. And then they're going to have to find them themselves.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to come up with a report. And they're going to have to do some kind of study to show that they're endangered. Or if not endangered, I forget the next level down. Vulnerable. It'll take years. It'll be 10, 15, 20 years before they will ever get that stamp. So do I think there's a cover up? No, not at all. Do I think that there are some nefarious folks out there that try some stuff? Like I know years ago, Joe Bielart, we had him on the radio show at one point in time, said that his house got broken into and the only thing disturbed were his Sasquatch files. I don't think that was government. I think that may probably have been somebody that had him on the radar. I want to see what he knows. To me, the most likely suspect in that thing would be another Sasquatch researcher that he's got a beef with. That would be my as an professional investigator, that would be my first person. I'm not really big into conspiracy theory, unless even the UFO stuff, it's not conspiracy theory. It's not a cover up. It's keeping secrets. So And
Colonel's got it right there. Follow the cash.
that's it. Follow the cash. And right now there is no cash on it. So if there's no cash involved in the, yes, the logging industry may try to foof it. In fact, you know, Ray Wallace was a logger. And, you know, maybe that was the, you know, the logging company. Maybe that was his whole plan. Hey, let me make these fake footprints and throw them in the barn. That way, you know, it doesn't affect the industry going forward when I die. I don't know. Just off the top of my head.
Or you're late on a delivery and need an excuse.
That's right. But yeah, I don't believe there's any type of cover up. But I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
I don't know. I mean, every time I see somebody throw something up there, when you scan down to the bottom of the page, you'll see this is for entertainment purposes only at the bottom of the website. You know, there's folks out there looking. If we come across something, we come across something. But, you know, as a cover up, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And now there's absolutely nothing could be covered up anymore. Within somebody's got big mouth because everybody's trying to be famous, you know?
Well, Ken says the Park Service shut me out of an area. Well, yeah. Yeah, well, why would they shut an area off that's got a lot of Bigfoot sightings? Anybody got an answer to that? Is it because they're trying to cover it up? No, I think what they're trying to do is we don't need a bunch of guys with a bunch of guns coming in here.
Yeah.
We don't need a bunch of people disturbing our other people that are enjoying the park.
Right. And that's what they did in Kentucky when they had that guy that shot at one over at Mammoth Cave. They shut down the whole area.
Okay, so here's law enforcement talking about Squatch on hidden camera. That's what the video that Obstruck is talking about. So my point being, exactly, because people like Brian Goslin, who had his sighting back in 1976, you know, was lambasted for having a Bigfoot sighting.
Yeah.
Was made fun of. Now has some acceptability happened in some circles in law enforcement? A little bit, but it still remains kind of a laughable topic to them because it is what it is. You know, Mike, I know you're.
You know, I privileged to a little bit more some of that info. You know, our show, we did a military and law enforcement show just a couple of weeks ago. Yep. And, you know, we had a constable from Pennsylvania that, you know, his guys had sightings. We've got military guys guys I've known, guys I've broken bread with, you know, that have had run-ins with something, you know. So is it becoming more commonplace where guys will speak up? Yeah, like I said, not everybody's looking for fame, but they need somebody to talk to. And if you're traveling in those same circles, you may get some more information some other people are not getting.
Yeah.
You know, years ago, I talked to a DEC guy about mountain lions, and the conversation went towards Bigfoot. That was before I was even looking in the subject, because he had come across some prints down in a county west of here that they had come across stuff he couldn't explain.
Yeah.
You know?
Now let me explain something here. So inside officially, Bigfoot sightings do get some attention in official emails. Exactly, they do. Not saying they don't. And I'm not saying that every area handles them the same. I'm only speaking out of experience of what I've seen in New York. You know, it seems like NCON's Environmental Conservation, Department of Environmental Conservation, aka NCON, has taken this general perception that they don't exist. Nothing you're going to tell us is they don't exist. Now, that may be not necessarily a cover-up, because a cover-up would, you know, oh, there's a dead Sasquatch, let's go down and grab it. I don't want to get too conspiracy theory over this. Hello, Barry, checking in late. Got to catch the beginning of the show. A lot of information.
some of the things, that I find kind of questionable is people say that these military guys can't talk about it or something, and they've had an experience while they were in the military, and they got out and they can't talk about it because they're sworn to secrecy and stuff. And I think I have to disagree with that. I mean, if you're in the military, depending on what job you had, maybe you had a secret intact or top secret security clearance. Well, that prevents you from talking about anything national security related. Anything to do with your job, like you worked on radar systems of the aircraft or something, you don't talk about that to anybody, and that's fine. But now, what if you saw Bigfoot? I mean, come on, you can't talk about Bigfoot.
Yeah,
come on now.
Unless it's location sensitive, It depends on what your NDA or your security clearance says. You may not be able to speak anything about anything. And that's not just because of Bigfoot. That's because of what your other things you're saying.
Well, you guys interviewed Ray,
absolutely,
my guys, and just recently when we did, Steve, you came on my show. We had somebody from his unit come on and corroborate his stuff, and they didn't even know they were both on at the same time.
That was really incredible. We had Ray on when we were doing the radio show.
Yeah.
And we were doing, I was on Mike's podcast about a month or so ago, and we were talking about the Mapinguari, and Ray started talking about the Mapinguari, and all of a sudden, one of Ray's squad came on and said, "Hey, I was with Ray, and we saw what we saw."
Yeah.
Which is very powerful stuff. Not only you got one, but you got two in the same unit saying, "Hey, this is what we saw."
And they got 18 other guys that will corroborate that.
Exactly.
That story, Right. But
Steve, have you got that Mapinguari show with Ray on there on the YouTube archive uploaded?
I'll have to look. I'm gonna. It's not on YouTube. Well, it may be. I gotta check.
Because I think everybody that hadn't heard that needs to hear that. That's one of the best shows I think we ever did.
Yeah, this week.
Really good.
This week. Well, guess what, folks? Yes, the old boy here has been out on furlough because of COVID-19, but it looks like the next week or two I'll be getting back.
Oh, good.
So just in time for the stim to run out. But. So I started, actually, it was kind of funny. The day before I left literally an hour before I left the expedition, I had Ted here and I had Fred here. Ted and Fred. And boy, those two banter like nobody else.
Well, man, I was going to suggest if you were getting bored, sitting around, you could come down and hang some sheetrock here in Kentucky.
Oh, that sounds like so much
fun. Do a little drywall mud and stuff like that.
That sounds like so much fun. I think Mike should go. I'm not.
Well, it's a pass-through. Isn't there something going on down in Tennessee coming up another week or two? I have to sling down that way.
Oh, yeah. There's
Gatlinburg or something. Yeah.
Crypticon, yeah. Crypticon. That's coming on, and there's the Gettysburg Paranormal. I think the same weekend.
Yeah.
Is so, or maybe the weekend after. I don't know. Either or. But I don't think I'm going to make it to Tennessee this year. I was actually saying, well, if I'm going to be out, I may go down. But it looks like I'm going back to work. So yay! I don't lose any money.
Yeah, like I said, my whole thing on a conspiracy thing. Yeah, the best thing to do: get out in the woods, enjoy some fresh air.
Yeah,
my idea, researching on the couch doesn't work. Getting out,
a bad day squatching is a day camping. Now, whether or not it's a good day camping or a bad day camping depends on the weather. Usually,
depends on who's got the cookies and who's starting the fire,
or sometimes the company.
Yeah,
but, like you're out in the woods, you're sitting there enjoying. You're making s'mores, and all of a sudden, this bearded guy with glasses comes on and says, "Hi, my name's Todd." That's a bad day camping.
Oh no!
I had to get that in there. Sorry.
If that happens, you could always ask him if he's got an extra pair of gorilla gloves around, and your hands might be cold.
Well, you can always tell where he is because there's a whole line of bullshit behind him. All right, enough of that. I'm sorry, I had a pander to the crowd here that was talking about it. But yeah, this is what we're talking about tonight. May not be the most exciting stuff. I understand that, but this is real tactical stuff.
Oh.
This is operational stuff. So, and I'm glad some people were saying, "Hey, I'm taking notes on this." That's awesome. I'm glad you are. We always try. Some days we have an entertaining show. Some days we have a news type of show. Tonight's one of the educational shows.
Well, and that's the big thing that we really forgot, Steve, is the compass, the first aid kit.
Oh yeah, all that.
And a radio. I mean, the best way to keep people going, and enjoying, what's out there.
One of those disposable foil blankets that they have. Keep one of those in your pack. Yep. A compass, water, fresh water. Make sure you have enough water rationed for yourself. So if you do get kind of some way to start a fire, my preference is a Zippo. Just make sure the flint is good and the fluid level is good, because that'll get you in a pinch. Or you can be like Mike and try to start a fire.
I got it to start. You guys just couldn't take care of it when I walked away.
Oh, dude.
Hang on a second. Hang on. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna go check something out here.
Yeah. If y'all need a fire started, you should have me along, because I'll just reach and grab a couple of nitro tablets and drop them in the fire. Guarantee you start right up.
Oh no, magnesium and toilet paper works just fine. Jack Link's wrappers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I was never one of those guys that likes to go out and start like fires with like a bow saw and stuff. That's why God made lighters. And, as long as I've got one of these in my pocket, I don't have to worry about trying to find 2 pieces of flint to knock together, stuff like that. But it's good to know how to do that. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. David, you're right. Petroleum jelly and cotton balls, definitely. I made sure I had I always carried the little face cotton swab. You pull oil off your face, put them on. And then I think I stole somebody's Doritos, because Doritos always work. I learned that as crush up the Doritos. Put the Doritos down, a little toilet paper, and you're good to go. You got the kindle you need. But but that's a lot of things. We go out there and we head out in the woods, and what happens if we turn the wrong way? And people don't think about taking a compass. Like I said, I bought my thermal camera for search and rescue and the night vision. Make sure you got that compass, because there's a lot of places your phone is not going to work. Your GPS is not going to work. We were up in the Adirondacks. We got lost coming off a mountain because we couldn't figure out, because we're all like, oh yeah, we use our GPS on our phones. Nobody had one built into a vehicle, which was really strange. So you're like 5 minutes. Can you still read a map? Nobody can read a map anymore. Those little things, besides, the $3,000 thermal camera, it's like you said, having that lighter, having that poncho,
right.
And everything I carry fits in that little sling pack that we started this whole show off with. It goes in the bottom, and I've got my DSLR in there with a big camera. So, even getting one of the spots, so at least people know where you are at, and I know it's a name brand, but there's some other, GPS communicators that people can send an SOS out and, get that information out.
There he is right there.
So yes, magnesium fire starter. Yeah, we'll get it going.
Yeah.
Woo! I'll get it going. Oh, and the most important thing, a good knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Have a good knife.
It won't be good when you get done with it, though.
Oh, that beast. Yeah. Okay, this is probably the Zippo.
There you go.
That's Sasquatch approved.
I get the little sticks, which I hadn't bought a magnesium stick in a long time, but the ones I used to buy, it came with like a little piece of a hacksaw blade.
Yep.
And you could actually like scrape off a little pile of magnesium, and then put that in your like a cotton ball or some crumbled up grass that's drill dry, and you would hit that little pile of magnesium, and woof, man, instant flame, dude. You have like there you go. You'd have like a hot dog cooking in like 30 seconds.
So there he is, flicking in some magnesium flakes into it.
Yeah. But it is good to know how to start a fire, without any modern convenience and stuff. Always have a lighter with you, but know how to do it without a lighter, just in case you have to. Because, man, I'll tell you what.
And the fire is almost out.
It was all wet.
Yeah, we had the hardest time with that fire.
That's it. You have not tried to start a fire in the woods until you've tried to start one with wet materials. And a lot of times it is wet. Even if it hadn't rained today, everything where it rained yesterday, everything's still wet.
But so that's that's one of mine. That's just with the normal night vision. I didn't pop the extender on it. So that's not even bad night vision just on the regular. But just some expedition video of us tootling around.
If you have a half of a pint of Kentucky refreshment in your backpack, that'll work to start a fire.
There's Fred. That's scary enough.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be taking the Kentucky refreshment out there when you're squatching, because that can screw up your perception of what's out there.
If you leave it in the bag, you're okay.
You'll be seeing squatches everywhere.
Pink ones.
So one of the things I always tell people is that when you get into the woods, where your car is, take a compass reading. Note where north, south, east, or west is. Always know, like for example, if you know the road is to the east, that way if you get lost or you get turned around, if you go east, you'll eventually hit that road. No, so that's what you got to keep in mind. Take a compass bearing before you enter into an area you've never been into before.
Yeah.
And another thing about compass bearing, we split up into two groups that night so we could go out and run through some thermal out on a road. And Steve's like, okay, we got something coming in from the north. We got something coming in from the west, and you're like, where's the compass? Okay, it's buried in the bottom of my pocket, when it's pitch black and you're using thermal. But knowing where those compass headings are coming from, so at least when you're doing your documentation in your field notebook, that's a big thing. Our team and when Steve goes out with our guys from Nessera's, we got a guy back in camp that's keeping directions on compass bearings and times a day, and that's another thing that we started just using is this Kestrel drop. This does, temperature, relative humidity, dew point, pressure, the altitude and everything like that. That downloads right on my phone. It's a little piece of technology out of my bag out in the car. But, you're worried about migration routes and times a year. Well, I can go back and look at that pressure setting that we had this time of year now. And I'm using one up here, and I know somebody's using one in South Carolina right now specifically for research, because we both got ours the same day from the company.
So people are talking about GPS in the woods. Believe it or not, the area that we go in, Research One, I have a Garmin. I actually have a Garmin Rhino, which is the radio, the FRS radio with the proper topo maps on it for everything. And guess what? It can't get a satellite because it's so mountainous. The news years ago, 2003, I was on the news, and we were going to do it from right outside camp, that area where we parked. All right. Mike. And guess what? The TV satellite truck couldn't get any reception. So they had to move down the hill to that next big, not the one up the hill, but the one down the hill from there to that next parking area. And that's where they had to do it, the feed from, because they couldn't get a signal anything further up the road from that. So that's why a compass is essential. Garmin's are nice, but you have to depend on the analog technology because that's the only thing that's guaranteed to work.
Modern technology is cool, but know how to use the old school stuff. That'll work.
Yeah, literally, I pulled out my, when we're in the middle of the axe, I had to pull my freaking maps out of the back and say, okay, we're on this road.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got to make it right. We got to make it left. We got to go here,
And there are some times that, you even, it's kind of weird because the Garmin won't work out there, but the satellite radio works fine.
Yep.
I can listen to Sirius all the way up to, or XM, all the way up to the top of the mountain. Guess what? Your Garmin don't work for nothing up there. Phones don't work up there for nothing.
I love maps because you could pull out a map of a new area, someplace you've never been to before, and say, okay, well, if worse comes to worse, here's a river. If I hit that river, I'll just follow it down to this town. It's knowing what you're going to be doing before you go there and having a plan of attack in case something bad happens.
Yeah, I mean, I love my technology, but it's having that stuff that's right there at your hand, and sometimes we really forget about, what am I going to do? Or your radio goes down or something like that. It's a big thing,
Well, what really kills me, Mike, every year, man, and it'll happen again this year too. Well, I mean, I don't want it to, but it will. People go into the woods, usually in California, and not singling them out, but that's where the most of them come from, these stories. They'll go in the woods to get a Christmas tree, and they'll die of exposure, and they'll end up finding their bodies, 200 yards away from their car or something like that. And it just breaks my heart because there was no need for it.
And just so you know, this is why it's huge to carry maps.
Yeah.
And yes, I actually get the actual geographic maps from the geographic maps from the what the heck service is it? The U.S. Geological Survey.
That's like a geological quadrangle. Yeah.
Yep. So
cool.
I grab those all the time. Good to have. Very important to have.
A little preparation can save your life. And I hope everybody that goes looking for Christmas trees this year prepares just a little bit.
And you can order those online. Actually, I use a company called Jamapco. They're out in New York State. They're actually based maybe about 10, 15 miles from where I live. Yeah. And I can actually go into the store, and they have some of them in stock, and I'll buy them. But you can order them from them online as well, and they will print up the geological quadrangle you want and mail it to you. So really, really, really good stuff. But guess what, guys? We just got a few minutes left of the show.
Oh man.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Well, I've learned a lot from Mike tonight. I appreciate the info on that thermal too, Mike. I tell you.
Thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Mike, it's always a pleasure, man. And say hi to Christy. I know she's in the chat, hopefully still. Yep. But I hope she's doing better. And hi, Christy.
Yeah, she's learning. She's getting her Bigfoot feet underneath her. We keep taking her out and leaving her places and come back and find her about an hour later.
She made a comment about that too.
Yeah. Ryan, Reading, and myself, we took her out on her first trip down to Chautauqua. And we left her at the point with the gear, and we went traipsing off looking for some prints. And then we came back, and and then that was her first night, her first call. And that's kind of one of the reasons we went with the audio and the bird stuff, because the howl we got that night, it sounds like a gibbon, starts right up, and she'll tell you, and it came right up behind her. Yep, she just, great co-host. And then where else did we do that to her?
When are you on again, Deborah? We are on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So. And then usually the day after, we put it up on Anchor FM, which you can reach. You can get the audio portion of the show on Stitcher, Spotify, and a bunch of others right there. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and plus a bunch of other places too. But those are just the big ones that we put up there. But there's others too that are coming up there. So if you want the audio portion to listen or re-listen to in your car, You can just download it, put it on a flash drive, plug it into your MP3 player in your car or on your iPod or wherever if you go to work and you want to listen to some Bigfooting, there you go.
Take us with you in the car. If the
Yeah.
kids are, if you're on a road trip with the kids, just tell them, be quiet. Hey, listen, this is about Bigfoot. Listen.
Yep. And Christy, just be thankful you're not part of a new part of my team, because Mike, you know what we do to the new people on our team, right?
Put the pork chop on them.
The pork chop necklace. That's right.
Oh, no.
Yeah, just go walk out in the middle of the woods with the pork chop necklace. Oh, you're nervous? Well, here's a night vision scope. Have fun.
Leave me with a pork chop. I'll have me a fire built in no time.
And just
buddy.
remember, if there's anything bad in the woods, you only have to run faster than the slowest person. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Well, on behalf of me and Chris, and thanks again, Mike, for coming on.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Well,
Thank you.
Mike and I talk to each other every week, so we're always babbling about something. But Chris, you want to do your usual?
I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We appreciate everybody. And please, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe. And if you want to, hit the notification bell. And thanks again, Mike, for joining us.
Thank you.
And on behalf of me and everybody else here on Squatch-D TV, we want to wish everybody a happy, safe, and healthy week. God bless. And of course, keep on squatching. We'll catch you all next week, 9 p.m. Eastern time, Sunday nights, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Anchor, usually on Mondays. We'll catch you all later.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Culls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless and keep on squatching.